Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Use that code CHGO when you sign up. What's going on, Bears fans? Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Nicholas Moreano. How's everybody doing today?
Good. How's everyone doing?
I'm doing average. Little rough start to the week over here, but I feel a whole lot better as I've decorated, which I just got to point out. I got the arguable goat hat going on. I got a Bears hat going on. I got my little weird stuffed animal, and I've got the hat that I am going to owe you, Nick, for what's going on with Jalen Carter and my erroneous opinion. First time ever that I've gotten something wrong on this show, so I'm going to have to live it. I'm going to have to love it. I'm going to have to earn it. I'm going to have to believe it.
Sounds good with me, Mark. I'll take your hat, and we'll see what ends up happening with that hat. We'll see.
Yeah, I just appreciate that you answered the question honestly. Just said you're average. Most people would have just said I'm good and moved on. But we got the full breakdown.
You had a great start to the day. Did a call with a buddy in the shower this morning. That was a good start. 7 a.m.er.
Was it Rich Eisen?
It wasn't Rich Eisen. I actually was thinking about him like 3 in the morning. Rich Eisen said he would come on the show, and Rich Eisen hasn't come on the show. So what I'm going to do for Rich, before we get into our wide receivers, I'm going to send him the newest candle that I just received, which is the Spiced Apple Cabernet. Spiced Apple Cabernet, Kari Blasen game. We're up in our game here. Oh, fresh, tasty,
sounds pretty good.
Delicious.
Yeah, that's fancy.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I feel good about it.
Well, I had a great Easter. I enjoyed watching a lot of golf. And, you know, I really wanted to break down the Masters this entire show. Karn wanted to break down wide receivers instead. So you guys are stuck with wide receivers and draft talk, unfortunately. No, we're ready to go. Last week, first of all, if you missed a couple things, let's catch up. One is we broke down the offensive tackles last week. Broke down our interior offensive linemen last week. And the way we're doing this is you should already know about this, but if you are a CHGO diehard, you have access to our big board on the back end. Everything we're doing, I spent all morning working on wide receivers and updating things where you'll start to see more and more pop up, as well as our order for these players as we try to make some sense of it all. And we are starting with our top 5 at every position, which is what we did last week with the offensive tackles and the interior offensive line. Today, we're going to get into the wide receivers. Before we do that, though, if you missed Friday's episode, definitely go back and check it out. Braxton Jones in studio. We had a lot of fun. He was there for the whole show. And, I mean, he was great. He really was. It was a fun conversation. And if you missed it, that's definitely an episode you want to go back and check out.
Can we throw Bears on Kawhi in here at Lawrence, because it's timely and loving and spot on to and germane to Hoge's conversation here. Braxton Jones, possibly my new favorite human, lunchbox, hard worker, humble, loved the interview, bear down. Thank you, Bears on Kawhi. I had to leave first out, and he was talking with head of content Kevin Kadick. Did he mention me afterwards, anything about us becoming best friends? Because I felt like we really bonded in there. All of us did. I mean, I think it's I think we should all once a week dinner with Braxton. What do you think?
Yeah, see, what actually happened was you left and everybody was like more relaxed, and he was like, "Oh, okay, now we can really get into some good conversation."
It got better, huh?
Yeah,
okay.
so.
That hurts.
How do you do at the first pitch, though? I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either. I got pictures. I was at the Cub game. Very disappointed.
But you were there and didn't.
Well, I didn't get there till bottom 1, top 2, whatever it was. So I missed.
Boo! What a loaf.
Terrible loaf. Good Cub win.
Sometimes he shows up to this show in the bottom first too.
That's messed up to ever say something about. I didn't see it, but he said I saw his pictures. I think probably everybody did here. Crystal saying that he did well.
Good.
Come on. That guy's not coming. Braxton's not coming on our show and messing up at Wrigley. The dude was ready to go.
Yeah, we really.
As long as it wasn't like Travis Kelce, guys. I don't know if you saw his pitch, but that ball just hit like barely above the mound and like skipped. As long as it wasn't like that, Braxton Jones did a great job.
It'll never cease to amaze me how people that amazingly athletic and good at a sport can't throw a baseball. it blows my mind every time something like that happens. But there's our guy Braxton Jones looking good with Clark the Cub.
That fixture in the upper corner left, the guy looks literally like a mountain man. How enormous does he look there?
He looks like a left tackle in the NFL, doesn't he? And once again, Clark the Cub, inappropriate, not wearing pants. Put some pants on, Clark.
I'm not sure when they added this Clark the Cubness, but when the Cubs win, he just comes flying out of the left field corner with the W flag.
Oh,
and yeah, that's a new. I had it.
Well, you haven't seen that a lot in recent years, so you probably just didn't even know what's happening.
Yeah, here comes Clark the Cub with the W flag.
Yeah, I should talk. My team sucks. All right, let's
Kopech pitched well yesterday. You guys are on the right track.
Still in C-State. Come on, I got the little parlay going.
Good vibes.
Let's make a bet. Let's do it.
Don't do that. Then bad things are going to happen. For you specifically, that's how this works. All right. Speaking of that, Dylan C-State, this show will be over by 1:09 today, I promise. One last plug. We'll get into the wide receivers. Make sure you come out to our draft party. Tickets on sale right now, allchgo.com. Joe's on Weed Street. We're going to have a lot of fun April 27th and April 28th, the first 2 nights of the draft. We're going to be there doing our live show. So if you're out of town, you can't make it, fine. We're still doing a live show. But if you're in town or want to make the trip, you definitely should. This is the time to do it. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's all inclusive with the premium drink package. Plenty of Goose Island to go around and premium drinks for you at the party. We're going to have a lot of fun. Make sure you're there. Corey Wooten's going to be there as well with our draft coverage from start to finish. So if you want to come out and see Corey, he's going to be our expert. Well, really just our expert in general, since he knows way more about football than any of us, but especially when it comes to linemen, offensive, defensive line, positions in need for the Bears. So come out and hang with us on April 27th and 28th. All right. Top 5 wide receivers. Carm, I'm going to let you kind of guide this conversation here as we go through it. Got plenty of notes to share and some controversy, I would say. I would say 2 major controversies with our top 5 wide receivers. One, we are unanimous about, though. I would say it's controversial, but we all agreed and we all put this player at the same spot, which is very, very interesting to me. And then when we get to number 5 on our list, there was some controversy in the Slack channel already, and it's mainly driven by my love for our player. So we'll get there.
Am I supposed to know who we all agreed upon, or is that something, was I not paying attention?
Well, see, Carm, there's this thing we call the CHGO Bears draft board that we
got
promote.
that one, Hoagie. I got it,
they're
baby.
right there for you in order, 1 through 5 in the draft board.
We got consensuses. I didn't know there was a consensus that you could read into this board. But I know, should we start off with our number 1? Can we go there? Should we do that?
We can.
Is that our consensus, I'm assuming?
The way they're listed are the consensus, Carm.
Okay.
Yes.
I
it
thought
would be
that
in a different order if it was just me.
Okay, but yes, but couldn't somebody have voted Jaxon Smith-Njigba second? He'd still be first because of the overall vote. Am I missing something?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's why they're there in the order that they're in.
Okay.
Carm, I'm with you. I don't understand what one player he means had a consensus.
Yeah, thank you, Lawrence, because this is I'm a little confused.
No, we got to get into this. There was for everybody. This is why we are transparent with everyone. We had a voting process.
Yes.
Nick, do you understand what's going on?
Yeah, I follow.
Somebody does.
I don't think he does. I think he says he does, but I don't think he does.
No.
Go ahead.
I knew exactly where we were looking. I'm like, all right, this is the list. Yep.
I have the board in front of me. I understand it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on down. I got all that.
We all ranked it, Carm, and then we went in there, and every ranking has a point system, just like any other ranking system that you would ever do. And then you add up the points, and whoever's the most points is number 1. Whoever's the second most points is number 2. Whoever's the third most points is number 3, and so on and so forth.
I got that too.
So that's what you call a consensus.
See, me and Lawrence are together on that. Consensus means that we all voted for the same person in the same spot.
That's unanimous. Oh, boy, we're going back to English class shit here. Like, no wonder you guys went to Iowa. This is
I'm going to walk away.
Though.
I'm going to
Nick
walk.
paid attention in Iowa. Apparently.
I still don't think that's well, we could talk about this after the show. Anyway, the number one guy on our draft board is no surprise to I don't think anybody here as we're going to continue on. And yes, it is the guy that Justin Fields wants so bad to be a Chicago Bear. And maybe the Bears will somehow find a way to get you to Jaxon Smith-Njigba, ladies and gentlemen, the Ohio State Buckeye, the man who did not run at the combine but did run on a pro day, had the bad, not great time of 4.53, but no one's worried about that. 6 feet and a half, 197 pounds. That's right, number one on the CHGO Amazing Board, and of course projected to go in the first round. Give me number 11, bring him to Chicago, Jaxon Smith-Njigba. We love you, consensusly, Adam Hoge.
Yes, this would be unanimous. We all had him number one.
Okay,
he is our unanimous number one. Easily the most skilled route runner in the draft. And, the knock on him why this guy isn't maybe going to go in the top 10, I think he could. I had him mocked to the Bears at number 9 in Bears Mock Draft 2.0. By the way, 3.0 coming out tomorrow. Little plug there for you. So you can be looking for that tomorrow morning. But JSN does not have, top-end burner speed. But when it comes to short area quickness and just knowing how to run routes, how to get open, in some ways reminds me of Devonta Smith when he was coming out. Just guys finds a way to get open. And the numbers he put up in 2021 was just ridiculous. You're talking about the single season Big Ten receiving record and 347 yards in the Rose Bowl, which was just insane. So he's probably a slot for the most part at the next level. But very good player. Don't have many questions about him. The biggest thing was he dealt with a hamstring injury last year, and he only played 3 games. But, there is a connection with Justin Fields. They played together in 2020. It was 10 catches, 49 yards, and a touchdown before Jaxon Smith-Njigba really became a big part of that offense. But I love him a lot.
Nick, what excites you about Jaxon Smith-Njigba?
I think he's just an elite separator, you guys. And even though this is actually a perk of not having that top speed. He still gets open despite not running a 4.4, right? So I think that just shows a credit to him knowing what defenses are in, where the opening is in the middle of the field, how to get advantageous angles. And Jaxon Smith-Njigba does that consistently, especially in 2021. And I know the Rose Bowl game gets a lot of love, but when you look at his last maybe 6 games, he had 103 yards versus Maryland, and that was on October 9th. And he almost had 6 straight 100-yard receiving games. He had 99 yards against Indiana and 97 yards against Penn State. But everything other than that, he was going over 100, including 240 yards against Nebraska. And a lot of those games, he's doing the same things to get open where he's twitchy in the middle of the field, able to get yards after the catch, and again, understands what defenses are in. And that's transferable, I think, to the NFL level. Despite not having elite speed, that's what makes Jaxon Smith-Njigba our consensus, unanimous number 1 wide receiver for the CHGO ranking.
Yeah, Hoge just messed up the conversation with that whole consensus thing because he just confused everybody out there, and it was just a bad job by Hoge.
I think most people in the comments understand it, which is not great for you.
Okay, I'm sticking to my unanimous is the same thing as consensus guns, but that's fine. Listen, can I give you some things about good old Jaxon Smith-Njigba that you gotta like? Ran the best time in the 3-cone. Hoge, you're a big 3-cone guy, 6'5'7". This is all about agility, getting open, what Nick's talking about. His shuttle was a 3.93, also best in the wide receiver group. So his quick twitch, get open, get the hell away from me, give me the ball, Justin Fields. This is why Justin Fields is out there saying, I want this guy. Was on display, even though he was coming off the hamstring injury. So that, to me, is exciting. What you just said there, Adam Hoge, is interesting to me. You're actually worried that he's not going to be there at 9?
No, I didn't say that. I'm not sure the Bears are going to take him at 9.
Okay,
yeah.
But we all think he'll be there, right?
Yeah, I think so. I look at last year's draft. We finally got that run on wide receivers right around that area. I think it started at 10. Maybe it was 9, 10, 11, or 10, 11, 12, whatever it was. But 3 wide receivers went in a row. And I just don't know that this class is that strong. I do think Jaxon Smith-Njigba stands out among the rest, though. So if there is that team that's like, well, we gotta get that wide receiver, then maybe they reach for him a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah. And Alex O'Hennon, who just put in the chat about wasn't it the best shuttle in 10 years? That's true. It was. His shuttle is elite. I hear. How about this? By the way, elite shuttle. How about this? Hey, let's be really weird and what won't happen. But hey, Justin, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get you your guy, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, and we're gonna expect big numbers between the two of you. And by the way, when you get to that free agency thing, we want you to give us a little bit of a discounted Bears love because you just want to be here and play with Jaxon Smith-Njigba for the rest of your career. Can they have those conversations? Can that happen? Why can't we do that? Let's have a package deal.
I'm thinking way ahead.
Yes, I am. And Gary Ross just called him Kevin White. Gary Ross is fired for today's chat. That is an unbelievable.
No, I think he's calling Quentin Johnston.
Oh, Quentin. Oh, there we go. Yes, he is. Okay.
We'll get to Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, he is on our list. Okay.
Guys, real quickly, Noah T has an interesting comment here. He said, "Can you guys explain why missing an entire season due to injury is not digging JSN? You know, with the hamstring issues and things that, you know, obviously he wasn't able to replicate what he did in 2021 because of that hamstring. Didn't run the 40 at the NFL scouting combine due to that hamstring. Is there any concern from you guys about him being able to be on the field?"
So I get more concerned about hamstrings when they're chronic.
Okay.
And like there's not necessarily a history of soft tissue injuries with him here. But it was one that nagged throughout the season. And I don't know, depending on who you talk to, it lingered because he was trying to get back out. There's other people who believe NFL's on the radar. Why not push? You know, why push? Why do you need to push through it as much? He did try to come back though, in the playoff game, right? I think that's yeah. So I give him credit for that. I'm not too concerned about it. I just don't think it's, you know, I think it's the concerning thing for me, if there is one, is that he was sort of a one-year wonder when it was all said and done, because he had that great 2021 season and then didn't really replicate it or back it up in 2020 because the injury, or 2022 because the injury. Again, though, I think in this case it's more of an valid excuse than a concern.
I would throw in that I think he is being dinged for it. We're talking about historic shuttle times that hasn't been done in a decade. If he had played all season long, this dude might be a top 5 pick. He could be more of the Jamar Chase type. So I think there is actually a little bit of a dingage, if you will, going on because of the lingering hamstring. And for the record, I am concerned about it. It's not to the point that I wouldn't draft him, but it does make me nervous. I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't. So,
all right, let's get to the next guy.
All right, moving along to number 2 on our consensus 2023 NFL draft board at wide receiver. To Boston College we go, and here he comes. The dynamic 5'9" explosive package that is Zay Flowers, 182 rockin' sockin' pounds, number 2 on our board. Zay Flowers will get open. Zay Flowers will wow you. Zay Flowers is not going to be there when the Bears pick at 53. What would be shot? A 4.42 40 time. Ton to like here, but he is on the smaller side here, Adam Hoge. So there is that as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that's the big concern here with Zay Flowers. But the more digging you do on him, there's no one who has a bad thing to say about Zay Flowers. These are the prospects that, in terms of safety, in terms of getting, you know, some value at the high pick, you kind of know what you're getting here with Zay Flowers. I think he's one of those rare prospects. Kind of like Peter Skoronski, I think, is on the offensive line, where you just feel very, very confident the floor is pretty high, that he's going to be able to get on the field probably earlier than some of these other wide receivers and contribute early on. He also, this is a thing I always pay attention to and care about, and it's going to come up with Quentin Johnston here in a moment too, but size is a thing that matters. But how do you play within that size? Mm-hmm. And so Zay Flowers plays bigger than what his actual listed size is. He's very good at creating space. So he's crafty in how he runs those routes to create the necessary space to give him those extra inches you need to win 50-50 balls. He's also just extremely competitive. He's a very willing blocker. If you read Bruce Feldman's piece with like the scouting nuggets he gets from college coaches, it's evident that the Boston College coaches absolutely love him and opposing coaches respect the hell out of him. He's just hard to play against. So you're also talking about a lot of experience here, and he never missed a game in college, so he's extremely durable. There's just a lot to like here in the total package. And so if his only concern is size, and by the way, he's still built well. He put on a bunch of muscle after the season, and he can get through tackles. So if it's really just comes down to height and he plays bigger than he really is, then I love the hell out of Zay Flowers. I that's why I have him number 2. And if there's any controversy here, I think it's that we unanimously ranked him second. All of us agreed on this over the other guys. So I found that very interesting that we are all on the same page there.
Yeah, guys, if you're worried about Zay, or for people that may be worried about his size in the NFL, go watch his tape against Louisville, where he's going up and catching a ball over 2 defenders, something that you're not going to see out of one of the other guys we'll talk about later in a little bit. But Zay Flowers, too, was lining up on the outside, was lining up as a Z, was going in motion, catching screen passes. And for a guy like Luke Getsy that likes to put the wide receivers in different spots in every given play, like that's going to fit perfectly with what the Bears are trying to do with their wide receiver core. So it's a guy that fits multiple positions, is a deep threat, knows how to, again, read his blocking in front of him, take screens for potential big plays if that's the play that's being called for Zay Flowers. So a lot of the check marks that you want to see out of your wide receiver, just not maybe the size. And putting on the 10 pounds in the amount of time that he did, like he was the same size as Darnell Mooney before the combine. At 10 pounds, he looks like he looked physically enough to take a beating in the NFL if he has to, but there's a lot of good things that you want to see out of your wide receivers.
Dude's been competing right since he came out of the womb. He's one of 13 kids. I think he's number 9 of the 13, 9 or 11. I forget exactly. We talked to
11.
him. 11, thank you. We talked to him in Indy. So dude had to, I asked him about that. He's like, yeah, we had to battle for food at the table. I mean, that was like a thing. So, you want the good mac and cheese roll in here or the good asparagus? Let's go. I'm sure they had all sorts of health options at the Flowers table as well. He fought for the right to be healthy and get on the football field. But you guys keep talking about it. This dude's physical. I mean, he's not. This is not Darnell Mooney. No disrespect to Darnell, who takes a lot of huge hits, but this guy actually might dole some things out, which is not exactly what you're looking for. But with the Bears and Fields and the fact they're gonna somehow get Bijan in here too, I like the fact that he has that ability. So
yeah, Zay Flowers is gonna be make some team happy. I think he's in kind of a tough spot where he's really only going to play for the Bears if they trade back and add picks, either a late first rounder, early second rounder. I wouldn't be surprised if Zay Flowers ends up going around 20, somewhere around there. I think with the lack of wide receivers in this class, at least top end, there's a lot of interesting guys in the middle, but so many of these guys at the top have legitimate question marks. There's no sure things. Like Zay Flowers is going to be the type of guy that coaches especially just really want. And I could see it, a team with some coaches banging on the table where they just go, yeah, let's just take this guy and move on. So
a way a lot of people think the draft's going to go is you're going to have a run on QBs, then you're going to have a run on defensive linemen, then you're going to have a run on offensive linemen. And so when the receiver run starts, if it starts later, like if Jaxon Smith-Njigba goes somewhere 15, 16, 17, you could see maybe I wouldn't even be surprised if you saw 3 go in the first round, possibly with Quentin in there as well. Which, by the way, we can get to number 3. But Adam Hoge, why don't you tell us about what's going on in the world of Fubo TV?
Yeah, big weekend on Fubo TV. Had a lot of sports going. That's why it's the best, because it's got all the channels that you need specifically to watch Chicago sports. 140 plus live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. You can stream live TV from any device, which makes it really good on the go when you're traveling. And it's the lowest price. So you can start watching immediately with a 7-day free trial. There's no contract. There's no cable. There's no hassle. It's very easy to just sign up and start watching. Plus, you get 1,000 hours of cloud DVR coverage included for no extra charge. Watch local teams while you're traveling. And what's on this week? Well, right, a ton of baseball. Unlike some other competitors, they have marquee ready to go for you. So if you want to watch the Cubs, you have the Marquee, you have the White Sox on NBC Sports Chicago with Fubo TV. Use the link in the description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro.
I love Fubo TV, and I don't know if you can hear the garbage can in the alley that's behind. You can? Okay.
I was like, what's going
Wondering
on?
what that was.
Also, Adam Hoge, it's Fubo TV.
Yes.
Heard.
Did I say it wrong at the end?
Yeah, I heard Fubu just now, but that's...
You might have Fubu'd it.
Fubu. It's Fobo. Fubo. Fobo.
Fubo.
It's Fubo.
Fubo
Pro.
Fubo. Don't worry, Poppy the puppy. We'll dance after the show. All right, and when I do dance, Poppy, I'm going to put on my incredibly cool, swift-looking, amazingly taking on the sun, built to last Shady Rays. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead. Thank the world that we are getting it here for those of us who are watching the show in Chicago and are hosting the show. The weather is coming nice, and it's going to be beautiful, and you need that premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays, let me underline this, independent sunglasses company. You're buying from the local. You're buying from the little guy. It's a beautiful thing. They've got durable frames. They've got extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures like Nicholas Moreano doing things in suburban wherever he lives, taking on all the comers with his dog, and then perhaps losing his sunglasses. But don't worry about it, because every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. You lose it, you break it, you let your dog eat it, they will give you a brand new pair, and no questions asked. Wear those Shady Rays with confidence, because they've got your back long after purchase. And for you, our CHGO listener, Shady Rays giving out their best deal of the season. Do it now. Get your family in there. Live the dream. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the code CHGO. 50% off. 50. 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades that are rated 5 stars. The big 5-star. 150,000 people. And look at that cool looking dude. I mean, I was going to get up and go get my Shady Rays, but I didn't have time, and I don't exactly know where they are. I think they're both in my car right now. So we'll just go
I feel like I'm watching The Matrix right now.
Yeah, yep. I'm getting those vibes. Guys, before we get on to our third wide receiver here on our list, guys, just let you know, as you know, CHGO Bears offseason coverage is brought to you by ComEd Energy Efficiency Program. You can learn more at comed.com/poweringbiz.
All right, and I do apologize for the garbage situation that's going on outside, but I think it just adds into the show the build to number 3 on our draft board. Adam Hoge is very excited about 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have some sleepers for you, which I think we're going to do sleepers, by the way.
Before we move on, we got to address something. I think Lawrence Benedetto did some research, found some definitions of things that matter, and we have some official definitions on what unanimous is versus consensus.
Okay.
So,
do we have a Webster thing that's about to pop up here?
We do. We have consensus, which is a general agreement, the judgment arrived at by most of those concerned. And so it is not everybody agreeing exactly, but it is a general agreement. So in sports terms, Carm, we always talk about a consensus being what the group comes to an agreement on, not necessarily that there wasn't any argument whatsoever, but when you do some polling, that is the consensus.
Right, and we had a consensus that Jaxon Smith-Njigba was 1. We had a consensus that Zay Flowers was number 2. You said we only had 1 consensus. You definitely said that. That's where... Thank you, Lawrence. So we only had 1 unanimous. Carm, greater than home.
I was talking
Carm
about the
wins.
full 5. We had 1 consensus list of 5. That's what I was referring
That was confusing. Yeah, very confusing.
Anyway, unanimous would be if we all voted 1 through 5 exactly the same, and it was unanimous that all 5 players having the agreement and consent of all, being of one mind, which if you're watching today's Monday edition of CHGO, we are definitely not of one mind today, without a doubt.
Well,
What type of garbage is going on out there?
Listen, this is the
lot.
South Loop.
Did you pick up the garbage and move on?
We got a lot. We got Daniel Scheinman in the
cram census.
in the comments for our audio listeners. Cram census. Listen, we had unanimous then on Jaxon Smith-Njigba, right? We had unanimous on Zay Flowers. Did we have a unanimous? Did everybody put Quentin Johnston third? I know we didn't because I didn't.
No, we did not.
We did not.
But that is our number 3 wide receiver, Quentin Johnston from TCU.
Yes, the guy that shout out Gary Ross does not believe in. He does have the size that you're looking for at 6'2 3/4. He has the 208 pounds of Quentin Johnston coming at you, and the problem with him is that he doesn't know how to catch the football. Adam Hoge, he has a little bit of a
he's not always consistent with it.
There's not a consensus with his catching.
There you go.
Quentin Johnston does not consensusly catch the football perfectly with his hands.
If you were to go into Madden and create a player to be a rookie wide receiver, this is what you would draw up in terms of size and even his athletic profile that goes with it. He's got a 41-inch vertical, which is insane. But the problem is he doesn't always play the part of that guy. And there's a lack of physicality in his game that concerns me sometimes, considering that, quite frankly, at that size, with his athleticism, he should have overpowered every corner he faced. And sometimes you would do it and you'd be like, wow, that's a top 5 pick. And then there'd be other times where it's like, what's going on here? Like, why are you not more dominant inside that body that you have? And that is concerning, but he does track the ball well downfield. He will make the flashy catches. There's just too many drops that come along with it. And you'll see him pull away too. When he catches a vertical, he'll pull away from the corner and score the touchdown. And the other thing that kind of makes this, I get why there's Kevin White comparisons here, quite frankly.
Agreed.
Because he's also a team captain with 0 character concerns. People love him. Teammates love him. He comes from a military family. And so he's like somebody that you really want to like. It's just how come, you're just not as dominant as you probably should be in that body. And there are more drops than touchdowns even last season, which I hate to see. On the other hand, I ding Christian Watson for that last year too. And he turned out to fix that. Like Carm just fixed his garbage problem, apparently.
That was good. You guys.
He just muted himself.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
I muted myself and I'm letting Nick get in here, and then I'm going to give you deep Quentin Johnston thoughts. Go ahead, Nick. And then
you need to mute yourself or
hopefully
move.
The garbage will be gone. There is no moving. Hey, Mondays used to be in studio. We're doing some extra prep.
True.
So I did not. Now we know on Mondays at noon. That's when the garbage comes.
Nick. I like Matthew's comment here, though, real quick before Nick jumps in, because we don't know these things at all. I mean, that's part of what's so hard about this. And Matthew says he's either going to be DK Metcalf or Kevin White. I guess we'll see. And that's the problem here. So, in judging where I would pick them, I'd rather have Zay Flowers just to be safe rather than sorry. But would make that decision knowing there is definitely a chance. Otherwise, Quentin Johnston would be off my board completely. I still think that there's a chance that he could be incredibly good, and his ceiling's probably higher than any of these guys, quite frankly.
Yeah, let's talk about the good real quick, you guys. I mean, when you go back and see the Kansas game that he had last season, 14 receptions, 206 yards and a touchdown. He's breaking away from defenders. He looked like he was untackleable in that game and just making big plays when he's catching a ball on curl routes. He's immediately turning upfield, creating separation, creating these explosive plays. But then we talked about it, really inconsistent with using his 6'2" frame to make these contested catches. He was actually ranked out of prospects that are going to be in the top 4 rounds for wide receivers this year, number 9 in career contested target conversion rate at 40.7. Jaxon Smith-Njigba, on the other hand, is at 71.4. Huge difference in terms of size and what you're trying to ask of these wide receivers. But for me, I just don't like the route running either, right? At this point, I don't like him as a route runner. He's not as polished as some of these other guys we've talked about. And if he's only trying to win off some of these contested catches, well, he's pretty iffy on that too with the drops that he's had. So to me, it is more of a risk with this guy. Yes, he's like the outlier of our entire group if we look at it. I know we haven't mentioned two of them, but in terms of size, of speed, he's at the top of this list, but he doesn't play like that. And that's an issue for me. And it gives me, like we mentioned him, Kevin White vibes. I've been saying that for, a while now when bringing up Quentin Johnston. But, if he's either DK or maybe like a Sammy Watkins or Kevin White, it is too much of a risk for me, but he is number 3 on our list.
Well, and we have the benefit, too, that he's really not going to be there for the Bears at 53, assuming they stay there. You're not going to pick him at 9, right? I'll say this for Quentin. When he was asked about his drop issues and needing to get better with his fundamentals, he did not shy away from that at all. He kind of owned it and basically was just like, there are things that I need to clean up, and I'm working on it, and I'm going to get there. So I loved his attitude, which speaks to what you were talking about, him being a captain and just being the guy you want in the room. And the other side of it is if he physically had reached his full potential, then he would have been the number 1 overall wide receiver when you look everything together. But, another thing to remember is if we're just looking at speed, none of the speed guys in this draft, the fastest guys who ran at the combine, Trey Palmer, Darius Davis, Matt Landers, they're all viewed as late round picks because they don't get open. They're just fast. So I'm not sure exactly what point I'm making other than the fact that it's hard to have everything going for you when you're to be that top end receiver. And there's a lot of big guys who run really fast and they just don't get open. So he's got the potential to get there. It's just you're just making a fairly big bet. And the Bears will be making a huge bet if they, were like number 9, Quentin Johnston. They're not Johnson. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't think so. And obviously this is not going to happen, but I do want to be on record. If it was the second round, I would take him.
Agreed.
I don't think you can make that type of gamble and pass on other really good players in the first round. To me, even like late first round, I would not blame a team for doing that. But and he's not going to last till the second round. It's not even going to be in play for the Bears at 53. But if for some reason it did, I would run to the podium to take him because I still think that there's a really good chance he could be good. But I don't even think it's fair to bring the Kevin White comps. Are always tough because like the guy was never healthy. We know. I still think Kevin White could have been better than Kevin White, but we never know because the injuries. Maybe Sammy Watkins is injured. Maybe Chase Claypool, like honestly, a guy who's good and will make. There's a lot of Chase Claypool because he makes plays. Like I don't want to knock him. Quentin Johnston he's one of my favorite players to watch in college football last year. It's just why are you not always dominant? Why you just sort of disappear sometimes? And the biggest thing is, and I say this about Claypool from what I've seen so far with him from the Bears, I feel like he plays smaller than he really is, and that's frustrating when you have a body like that you don't take advantage of it more.
Since you just went there, I was do a quick side turn, and then we'll get to number 4 here. Do you think that the Bears, if you had to bet right now, a year from now, that the Bears will be signing Chase Claypool to an extension?
No, I would bet against it.
You bet against it, right? I think everybody would, right? Everybody would say no at this point. Maybe that'll change. Hopefully it does. I got it. So I just want to bring this up. I know most people are against me on my Odell Beckham Jr. take. But he signed yesterday for 1 year. Can be worth up to $18 million. He's going to the Ravens. The Bears have to spend. They have more money to spend. You're trying to win next year. He makes life easier for Justin Fields. You don't know what you have in Chase Claypool. You're probably not signing him and Darnell Mooney. It's not a perfect fit for the Bears, but I would have been damn ass excited if they had been interested in Odell. Because that guy would have come in motivated. He would have come in on a 1-year deal. It wouldn't have hurt your cap space going down the line. You would have been back open next year. And you would have made life easier, in theory, for Fields and that. I mean, now you're talking about a really dynamic receiver room, and the Bears just had no interest in it. Which I get it. The Bears aren't Odell Beckham Jr. away from winning, but I would have loved to have seen it, and I had zero interest. I get it, but at any rate, to me, it made sense on a lot of levels.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense at all. I don't think he's a hits guy at all. I think he was a very talented player who doesn't fit what the Bears are doing right now. There's also, I think, concerns that knee injury is never going to be
okay.
I forget the exact stories, but like when he went and worked out with the Cowboys towards the end of the year, like they were like hard pass. You're not healthy, and that was a few months ago. But yeah, I think that was insane what the Ravens did. Quite frankly, it was weird, and the only logical explanation whatsoever is it has something to do with Lamar Jackson. Because otherwise, none of it. You just paid him top end wide receiver money with all those concerns. No way.
I love all this OBJ is a cancer dude. Yeah, okay, hasn't been perfect. Did he not go to the Rams in the middle of the season and win the Super Bowl and was absolutely enormous in huge moments? Did that not happen, or was I watching somebody else doing that?
No, I think you're slightly overrating what he was. He went to a very good team. He fit in. Was motivated to win for a couple months and made some plays at times, but it's not like, let's not overrate what he did. He wasn't the best wide receiver in the league.
No,
but he wasn't even close to the best wide receiver on the team.
No, of course, but they had Cooper damn-ass Kupp. I mean, come on. But he made a lot of huge plays. All right.
Touchdown in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean,
and by the way, can we just, like, it would have been, everyone's just so, like, hits principle. Like, he would have been fun to have in here, man. If you had Odell every week, do you understand the entertainment level of that would have been? It would have been great. Nobody wants that. No, I know. We just got to be like, let's
you mean when the inactive list came out every week?
I mean, Bears wide receiver room gets better with a guy like that.
You all are the fun police. OBJ in this town would have been great. I would have loved it. Nobody, you can't do that. That guy's too.
Why did you just say the Bears should have signed him for content purposes? I would have agreed with that take. That would have been a better take.
All right, let me rewind it. The Bears should have signed Odell Beckham just strictly for the content, for this show, and for and that would have been amazing. Instead, he's got to go to the Ravens, and I'm jealous. Fine.
Best card take in weeks.
Okay.
I love it.
Thank you for. I should have talked to you about it before the show. I did put it in the notes that I wanted to talk about it.
$4.99 signing Odell would prevent us from ever seeing Claypool's ceiling. We need to develop talent, and Claypool has incredible talent potential. Give it time. I do think that there's some truth sometimes that are being too crowded of a wide receiver room. I don't think the Bears are there just because they added one guy in DJ Moore, but I do think that there's some truth in there.
I think Brian Poles wants to see what Claypool can be, to be completely honest. Even though, first season didn't go the way he wanted, I think he does want to see that kind of play out. And even if you bring in a guy like Odell, it does cloud it and makes it a little bit tougher to get that full evaluation. If he can't play, he won't get the extension. But there is that small possibility that he can.
Let me raise my hand and say that if the Bears want to draft some really talented receivers, they're going to take away from Chase Claypool catches. I am all for it. Let's not. We don't need to make 2023 let's figure out Chase Claypool. If he can figure it out, great. But I'm not. Look, talent in that room, making the offense sing, miracle. 9-8, 10-7 season. Sign me up for that. Versus let's just figure out if Chase Claypool can be next. But okay. Back to our board at number 4, who was I think I had him 3. I'm 99% certain I did. But, I don't remember what I had for breakfast. Jordan Addison, the one-time Pitt Panther, then USC Trojan, who this dude can do a lot of things, and a word that describes him is twitchy. This dude gets open, and again, we're not talking about the length that we were just talking about with Quentin, but 5'11", almost 6 feet. There you go. That's how that works. 173 rocket stock. I'm not going to run you over pounds, but this dude is hard to cover. I like Jordan Addison a lot. Again, I think the run on receivers will be there, and then the Bears are going to have to trade up to get Jordan Addison, but if he falls, this would be a sweet dude.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with it at 53. There's a couple things here that just every time I look at Jordan Addison hold me back a little bit, because there's no question, a lot like Jaxon Smith-Njigba, it's not necessarily about straight line speed. It's just about knowing how to get open, having that suddenness, that twitchiness to get open out of the slot. And he certainly did that. The production at Pitt to put up 17 touchdowns in a college football season and he had Kenny Pickett throwing to him that year, which is relevant, is I mean, it's wow. I mean, that type of production you don't see. Now, the two things that hold me back, one is on field, and that is he goes to USC and his production goes down when theoretically on a team with Caleb Williams at quarterback, Lincoln Riley running the show, there's probably some other options there around him, but it went significantly down. And that being said, so did his drop rate, like, because this drops were a huge problem at Pitt, and it actually got better at USC. So there's some punt return experience to like. The big thing that kind of came out, he didn't have a great combine, and his relative athletic score was sort of surprisingly low for a guy that is that twitchy. And so that's kind of holding me back too. So again, another guy I like, but has a couple things here that I just can't completely fall in love with him. And so I'm going to confess here, I actually had him ranked 5th behind the next guy we're going to talk about.
I actually like Jordan Addison, you guys, especially like his route running ability. One of the games he was playing in, he ran an out route, and it was the DB had outside leverage, and he's able to get open. And the DB knows this. I know it's watching this, and then a few plays later in this drive, he sets it up with an out route that turns into a wheel and gets like a 40-yard explosive play. To me, just kind of watching more and more of him, it's a guy that understands how to get open, especially on outbreaking routes. He comes back to the football too. I think that led to having less drops as well, able to come back on comebacks, the curls. He's fighting for the football. That shows me a guy that trusts his hands. The big thing for me, like, he is smaller at 5'11", 173. He's almost built like a Darnell Mooney in terms of size, what the frame that he has. And he didn't break a lot of tackles last season. If he's catching the ball, he's not going to be that yards after catch guy consistently. But in terms of route running, I love Jaxon Smith-Njigba, Zay Flowers, and then I put him right up there with them in terms of how he's able to get open, understanding leverage, and things like that. So Jordan Addison, I think one of the guys that maybe when we were ranking these wide receivers a little bit differently, but I love his route running ability. He is going to work mostly from the slot, but at USC did kind of go outside a little bit more than he was at Pitt. So a guy that can also provide some versatility as well.
We all agree and assume that Jordan Addison is a slot receiver, correct? Or do we think he can float back and forth?
I think he's a slot
at times,
Yeah.
but
see, the production went down when he went outside. That's what kind of that's what's kind of my concern is there. But a lot of these guys are that way. Like Jaxon Smith-Njigba is going to be better to utilize out of the slot. Zay Flowers probably too.
Shoot, Darnell Mooney was like that this past season when they put him more outside. Like, it was less production.
And just a reminder too on Jordan, the dude he was college football's top receiver in 2021 with Pitt. He won the Bolitnikoff Award. This dude, they don't hand those out to guys who can't play, which by the way is why whether he's 4 or 5 on our board, he's there. Somebody's gonna get a nice player in Jordan Addison. All right, should we move on?
Yeah.
To number 5, which Adam Hoge likes to teach you how to say the name of this SMU Mustang.
Rashee Rice.
Rashee Rice, ladies and gentlemen. 6 foot, 204-pounder. Hoge had him 4. There's a lot of reasons why, which we'll get into in a second. This is the 40 time wasn't great at 4.5, so we're not talking about a burner here, but they love let's call it just a pro's pro in Rashee Rice, which I don't know. That's fine. We could use some professional people around here. I'm looking for more wild cards, but Rashee, maybe his proness would be something that would fall in the hits principle. But he's not the most physically gifted, but
he's not Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, let's put it that way.
He doesn't act like an idiot, which probably is a good thing. Here comes Mr. Rice. What do you like about him, Hoge?
If we're being serious, I think there were some maturity concerns here early on in his career, but he's somebody that's kind of really grown up and getting credit for that, and finished as a team captain, and somebody who's really grown up in the game. But yeah, again, he's not the fastest guy, but here's the opposite of what we were just talking about with Jordan Addison. He actually moved outside in the SMU offense this year, and the production skyrocketed. So he went from a very good productive wide receiver to a great wide receiver, breaking Emmanuel Sanders' single season receiving record at SMU, and they've had some good wide receivers there. So, I mean, that really matters for me, and one of the reasons why I like him. I think he's headed in the right direction, both off and on the field, somebody whose arrow is pointed up, which is why I realize as we talk about this, I may have him rated higher than anybody else you hear talk about Rashee Rice. Dane Brugler's beast came out this morning. He's got him as a 3rd-round pick. I got him as a 2nd-round guy. I think some team's going to get really happy here with Rashee Rice, who, like some of these other guys we talked about, is crafty at creating space, winning jump balls. Like, he plays bigger and than Quentin Johnston does sometimes. We saw that in the Senior Bowl and some of those practices. Nick, you were there. And if you actually go into our profile on him on our draft board, there is a tweet that has all of his reps in practice, every one of his one-on-one reps. And you see him know how to lean into the DB and come out at the last second to create that extra separation that he needs, because he doesn't have that burner speed. But that being said, he is almost 6'1", 204. This isn't a smaller guy compared to some of these other guys we've talked about. He's also got this reputation of being tough, playing through injuries. I believe he had turf toe all last season, and he put together all that ridiculous season he did, playing hurt the entire year. Absolutely loves football. He embraces blocking. These are all things that the Bears have shown you last year they like in Luke Getsy's offense, and he was there at the Senior Bowl. Now, drops have been a problem. He does need to be more consistent overall as a player. There's no question. I think that's why he's perhaps not higher on people's board. But this is definitely falls under the category of Adam Hoge draft crushes. I love this guy in a group of wide receivers where there's not a lot of standouts. I would take a chance on this guy. If not at 53, definitely with one of those picks, a few picks later. I just love Rashee Rice a lot.
I'm smelling a clip coming out of this show, Adam Hope. We're gonna rice this one up for those who have not watched the full 52 minutes of this extravaganza. Nick, you want to pile onto that?
Yeah, I'm not as big of a fan of Rashee Rice when I was at the Senior Bowl. I don't know, like when we would have our takeaway episodes, I don't know if I ever came away with saying Rashee Rice was the best wide receiver here. And not to say that he didn't make plays, but for me, he did make a lot of highlight reel catches last season for SMU, but he wasn't consistent with it, with going with the deep ball, the 9 drops last season. And for me, like for any wide receiver, I'm big on route running. If you can get open and can create separation, and it's going to be a lot more difficult in the NFL. That's going to be higher on my list than anything here, but he does have the physical intangibles. I just didn't come away after the Senior Bowl week being like, wow, Rashee Rice is a guy that the Bears need to go get. And he does, like I said, have the physical makeup to maybe be that kind of guy. What he ran I think it was like 4.5 or somewhere around there at his size. But for me, a little lower on the list of guys that the Bears can possibly go get. But he is one of those bigger wide receivers, and the Bears are looking for that kind of physical makeup at the position.
I'm kind of with Philosophy, who just, i.e., why is Hoge selling me on Rice? When a grounded Hoge comes in so effusive about a Rice and lays out the reasons, it's hard not to come with him, right, team? You just, I mean, I'd
go wrong before plenty of times with these draft crushes.
Nah, but don't bring that up. Don't bring that up. Let me just sell you your nuanced Rice take that almost makes me want the Bears taking him at 9.
No, that's ridiculous, and that's not what I'm saying at all.
Of course.
Definitely with that later 2nd round pick, 61, I think would be great value. Obviously, if he's still there, and he may be. That's why I think, unlike some of these other guys we've talked to that don't really fit the realistic nature of still being there, when the Bears having that big gap between number 9 and 53, I think this is somebody that people should take seriously. So
rooting for content guy over here, dear Ryan Poles, if you could just have Rice be the 61st overall pick for the Bears, that would be good for us over at CHGO. I would really enjoy that. I also really enjoy Jalen Hyatt, who's not in our top 5.
We'll talk about Hyatt here in a second because obviously
Okay.
that's the one guy missing. He would be number 6 on our list right now, which is still in flux, by the way. We'll probably still do some updating over the next 2 weeks before we actually get to the draft. But first, want to make sure you know about Goose Island. Man, we had some Goose Island going over the weekend for sure, watching golf, beautiful weather we had. And I have a feeling there'll be some Goose Islands in the near future today as well. CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company, which you know. They've been Chicago's beer since 1988. They got the Blackhawks Pale Ale, the limited release. Still got a few of those in my fridge right now. The Hawks and Goose Island have been neighbors for 25 plus years. They have the Goose Pub open inside the United Center, which has been there for almost 10 years now. And that tap room is a pregame destination for Hawks fans. Bull City 312 still available for you as a limited release. And the No Plans Pale Ale is one of my favorites. Definitely had a few of those over the weekend as we are officially into patio season in Chicago. I've called it. It happened. And we got a few more days coming here right here. So you're going to want to have some Goose Island ready to go. You can never go wrong with Green Line. Of course, you can never go wrong with 312. Goose Island's 2 local locations are open and ready to welcome you. Grab a beer right from their innovation tanks at the Goose Island Tap Room at 1800 West Fulton, or get a smash burger and a fresh beer of the week at the original Clybourne Brew House at 1800 North Clybourne. For reservations and pickup, go to gooseisland.com/locations. Goose Island Beer Company.
You can also never go wrong, you guys, with ComEd. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities we serve save money and energy. The ComEd offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities, whether it's lighting, HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes. An authorized engineer will go out to your patio if you need it, or you can do it virtually at home. Talk about your goals and needs, and these can be done, like I said, in person or virtually. It lasts approximately 2 hours. And don't wait. You can get started saving money and energy today for energy-saving tips and to schedule your free facility assessment. All you have to do is go to comed.com/poweringbiz. So with all those great perks, are you ready to finally sign up for a facility assessment? You can call them at 1-855-433-2700 during normal business hours to speak with a ComEd Energy Efficiency Program representative. You can also email businessee@comed.com or request an online assessment on their website at comed.com/facility assessment.
All right. Get your facility assessment going. Be like Nick. Be like Hoge. Be like Carm. We love a good facility assessment, saving money, saving energy. People are weighing in on your Rashee Rice here from our guy Tom. Rashee is like a contortionist, positioning himself to make great catches. Adam Hoge, you agree?
That means he adjusts to the football well in the air. I agree, yeah.
Are you accusing me of not knowing what a contortionist is?
No, but you leaned in to like read it, you like squinted at the word, and you had some doubt as you read Tom's outstanding $5 super chat.
Thank you, Tom, for the $5, and I did lean in. That's true, but it's not because I didn't know what contortionist is.
Yeah,
damn it. They did teach us that at the University of Iowa and Highland Park High School, and perhaps I was ahead of the curve at Ravinia K through 5. We were busting out contortionist. In 3rd grade, that's a disaster.
Oh no!
What was that?
You needed a contortionist to go get that.
I needed a contortionist to, I just banged on the table, the light went down, but I've got 2 lights, so I'm fine. That's, and we're an hour in.
This has been an all-time show for Mark Carman.
I look good. I don't care what anyone says. I got hats. I got arguable goats. I got everything going on here. I got pictures.
I mean, Lawrence, if Casey's watching, I mean, we got a great Instagram, TikTok, just possibilities of bloopers from Carm on this show. Here's another one with Poppy the puppy making an appearance.
Listen, look at her just focused in on the show, just watching the whole time.
She's probably like, "Why did you wake me up with all that noise?"
Yeah, well, Pop's got to, she's got to focus. We got, we got to get some clips out here, but we gotta get Pop back out there for her afternoon walk. Right there, Pop-a-lop. All right, can we talk about Jalen Hyatt there, Hoge?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Jalen Hyatt. He may have. I would probably put him more in the Quentin Johnston category in terms of having high ceiling ability. Of course, Tennessee wide receiver who if you watch the Alabama game, you saw him put 5 touchdowns on the stat sheet, which is just insane. Little over 6 foot, 176. Got a slender frame, which has me a little worried about durability at the next level. But okay, unlike a lot of these other guys we've talked about, Jalen Hyatt is definitely a vertical threat with more of that straight line speed. He has more straight line speed than even Jaxon Smith-Njigba, to be honest with you. He'll go up and attack the football too, but slot only at Tennessee, limited route tree. Okay, so he's a guy that can maybe come in and hit a home run for you as a rookie, but he is not going to be on the field, in my opinion, a lot early. He needs some development time because he has that limited route tree, and I just don't think he's going to be a seasoned receiver, and there's no guarantee with that slender frame, which worries me that he's going to hold up. He also, at the combine, he dealt with some hamstring tightness. I thought it was odd that he was 8 pounds lighter at the combine than he showed up at his pro day. Sometimes these guys get lighter so they can run faster, then they put the weight back on, and it's not even like he has a lot of weight to begin with. So that was interesting to me. Again, on the draft board, somebody I like, somebody who can, make highlight reel plays for you, no question about it. But I just have him ranked behind these other guys because I just have more concerns.
He ran a 4.4, which was 7th best of any wide receiver at the combine. Just for the record here, we got some speed. He also models himself after Devontae Adams. Let's get that in there. And Carm scouting, this dude was 5 years old, was playing YMCA flag football, and was incredible. So I do think the work ethic started early, and he's made it this far, and I believe that he can do exactly what Hoge laid out, what he needs to do, Nick. I know you're the Hyatt guy here.
Yeah, I'm higher on him, and even though he has a limited route tree, it doesn't mean that he can't run routes. And he shows really good hands. You constantly see him extending for the football. But when you do watch his film, the dude's wide open. Like, they schemed it so well at Tennessee, where it's like, that's not happening in the NFL. But can he still able to win those one-on-ones when he gets that opportunity? That's going to be the question. He didn't have a lot of opportunities against press, so we don't know if he can actually do that. But I like the ability for him to catch with his hands. The straight line speed is one of the best in this class. He kind of reminds me, you guys, of like a Devontae Smith, even though he's a way more nuanced route runner and ran a whole bunch more at Alabama. But if you're looking at the size, frame, and that speed, reminds me of him a little bit. But we need to see what he can do against press, which we didn't get to see in Tennessee. But he's a guy, he's a Blitnikoff Award winner at the position. And, he's fighting for the 5th spot on our list. But I have him, rated higher just in terms of his class. And if the Bears get a guy like that, he's a dangerous weapon. He just needs to develop and get those opportunities to run more routes and maybe just become more of a focal point in offense. But does a lot of good things that I think can attack defenses.
I think we just did a fantastic job going through our top 5/6.
Yeah, really, we did a top 6 for you right there because Jalen Hyatt was the consensus, not unanimous, number 6 on our draft
Full
board.
circle.
Yeah. All right, let's get to some super chats before we get out here. I know some questions about Josh Downs. He'd probably be coming up next on the list. We're going to end up probably banging out top 10 at least, if not more, wide receivers. So we'll see how many of these actually make the top 100. There's a lot of interesting guys. I also love Tank Dell. So that's another guy we've talked about before to keep in mind. So we'll get into all that more. Plenty of time here as we get we still have about 2.5 weeks until the draft. But Lawrence, any super chats we need to get to? JJ jumping in here, $4.99. This is zero relevance to today's episode, he says. But last week, Nick swore he would get his friend their Christmas present that he owed him. I have to know if he did. Hashtag cliffhanger.
Of course I did. On Saturday afternoon, I found out that my old buddy Mason West, who used to do the Chicago Audible show with us, only lives 10 minutes away from me. So it was inexcusable for not to give him his Christmas gift, 4 months later? But he got it. And, I made sure I had to do that before the weekend was over.
I saw the video on Twitter, correct? Is that what you?
Yep,
somebody
he posted it. Yep. Got a CHGO Bears varsity sweater. So I've had that for 4 months just at the apartment here. So
which actually was very interesting. This varsity sweater, Hoge. Nobody knows how to get these extra sweaters, and yet Nick was able to get one for his buddy Mason.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know how he did that, but that was definitely undercover.
I don't know how to get them either. Carm, did you get a birthday or a Christmas present from Nick?
Nope,
Yeah.
sure didn't.
That's interesting.
And Passover just happened. Didn't get a call on a happy Pesach. I mean, nothing. Was there? There's no matzo ball soup being delivered to my house. I mean, zero. Happy Easter, by the way, you guys.
Every 4, you just gotta wait. Like my gifts just come way later than when they're supposed to. So, just gotta wait.
By the way, I've seen Marvin Mims in the chats a bunch. I like Marvin a lot. My Oklahoma burner, good dude.
Boomer sooner.
He hits principal guy. I take me some Marvin Mims. I also like the wide receiver out of Princeton, Andre Yosivas.
Oh, so that was a real person you put in the Slack.
Yes.
4-4-3.
I remember him. Yeah, I remember him from the Senior Bowl.
4.4340, buddy. 39-inch vertical, 128-inch broad jump. That's all above the 75th percentile.
See, Carm was putting a bunch of fake people in our chat this morning, so we didn't know that Andre.
None of them are fake.
The second guy.
There was one guy that was definitely fake.
No, he was not.
No, I looked him up. He's actually real.
No,
he's real?
Yes, Jacobus is real. He's out of Hampton University, but I moved off of Jacobus. I'm on to Tyler Scott, which, by the way, I've seen on some mock drafts the Bears taking him in the 4th round out of Cincinnati. Don't sleep on Tyler Scott, damn it. We'll do a little bit more of this on After Dark tonight, 6:30. Carm sleeping wide receivers, which
I like that.
We can have a little fun with that. Because the way it shapes up, I feel like there's some late round picks that we're gonna have to get creative here. We're not, these dudes there's gonna be a run on them. We need 7,000 defensive linemen, offensive linemen. Let's get a late round wide receiver in. Hoge looks nauseous right now.
I just want to go watch Dylan Cease.
Oh, okay.
Oh crap! I didn't make the bet. No.
A couple new diehards we got to welcome to the family before we get out of here. Ronetta Smith. Hey, Air Buddy, I'm a diehard member now. Yay. Love it.
Renetta's awesome. We're Twitter buddies.
And then Bears on Kauai jumping back in your newest diehard. QB slide shirt on the way.
Team Bears on Kauai.
Braxton Jones really liked that shirt.
Then
guys.
Dylan jumping in your 199 hashtag Team Carm. You're the man in all of CHGO.
So
Appreciate
Nick,
it, Dylan. Yo,
what I'm willing to do today for you on our Jalen Carter bet, because it's not over yet, but I like at DraftKings they would, you can cash out early. So instead of that hat up there, what I am offering you.
Oh yes. What is this little guy?
Stuffed animal ball of a thing. Instead of my hat. You can have this today or risk it all to get the hat later. What would you like to do?
Wait, what's the hat that's on the line?
It makes Carm's head look enormous whenever he puts it on.
Oh, that winter hat he wears that looks weird?
Yeah, I'm going to wash it and give it to him. Or you can have, again.
I want that guy. I want this.
You want this dude?
Ball. I'll put him in the background right here. Perfect.
Okay.
You can cash out early.
Buddy.
Why do you have that?
It was a great run. I'm not speaking on that. I'm going to get emotional that I'm losing you, but you're going to a great home. Nick's going to take good care of you. There are no dogs that eat you there. And I wish you the best. But
we can't guarantee the dog thing. There's definitely a dog there.
You might. Don't worry. Just don't worry about it. Nick,
you might die there.
If you die, you die.
Great talk.
He dies.
Right.
Like Rocky.
It was a great pep talk.
See you, buddy.
What's the name of that?
Never named him.
Okay, never named.
Nick, we can name him
Andre Sobis.
Andre Yosivas. Guys, who should I vote for pick to get a hit today? I got Tim Anderson. Is that a good bet? Are we doing that today?
Go with Yo-Yo.
Yo.
That's what Sean Anderson said on the bet show this morning.
Okay, I would listen to Sean. They're playing the Twins, so I'm just expecting bad things to happen.
Twins have put out a shitty lineup. No Carlos Correa, no a bunch of other guys. So this should be a good Dylan Cease day. But when that happens, of course.
8+ strikeout day?
Yeah. That's what I actually have that as one of my bets, yeah.
Nice. Right. I'm doing it.
Andrew Vaughn would be a good bet for me, Nick. 1 for 4 yesterday, struck out 3 times. I think today's going to be a bigger day for Vaughny.
Yeah.
All right, I'm doing it.
Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Nicholas Moreano, at the Carm, at Law on the Draw.
See you later,
at
Cram
CHGO _ Bears. Make sure you're following all our coverage at allchgo.com. New mock draft dropping tomorrow morning, both on YouTube and in my newsletter. So diehards, you got a newsletter coming your way in the morning as well. So make sure you are a CHGO diehard and sign up for that Bears newsletter. We're out of here. We'll be back tomorrow in studio. More draft talk coming your way. We will talk to you then at noon.